Hey guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor and your leverage for change. And today I'm going to begin a series of presentations on how to say no while maintaining your relationships. And I believe this is a very important topic to speak on because I find a lot of people that I know, as well as clients, have severe difficulty in saying no. And so what happens what are some of the consequences of not being able to say no? Well, the first thing you can think of is that I can think of is built up resentment, because after you keep saying yes and yes and yes and yes and to people that keep coming to you and asking you to do stuff, what happens is that you get overwhelmed, you're stressed, and you build up this anger, which is going to end up in feeling resentful, towards these people. You're going to have this resentment built up over time towards the people that keep asking you to do things that you're not comfortable with, right? So it's very important to learn to say no so that you don't have this built up resentment for others. Also, after a while, when you just keep saying yes and yes and yes, you really have no power over your own life. You're living your life through the needs of others. And so what happens is that the tendency is for you to now feel that you're not worthy of having a life of your own. So your self-esteem suffers, and you start to now feel like you're less than and you're not worthy of this. It's because you keep just being just answering to others and living their lives. They are just, and people will always, I've discovered that people will always use you to the extent that you allow them to. So what you need to do is learn to say no while still maintaining your relationships. So guys, the next thing that we can think of is what are some of the reasons that we don't say no? What are some of the reasons that we find it difficult to say no? Well, one of the reasons is that there's a fear of losing the favor of the person that is asking us to do this favor, right? Perhaps it's a work-related favor. Perhaps it's that somebody wants you to work overtime. They want you to work weekends. They want you to work on holidays, when you may have had plans with your family, right? And so what happens is that you are afraid of losing their favor, especially because they basically they have the purse strings, right? And what happens is that they are going to be able to use that over you when you say no to their requests. You might be thinking of, there might be a job promotion, there could be a raise, that you may possibly get if you say yes, 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 yes all the time. But that is going to eat away at your self-esteem and also your power of self-worth. All right, guys. So there's also the problem of the fear of losing a relationship with your partner or a valued client. Maybe that client has you have maybe a couple accounts with that client, and you're afraid of losing those accounts if you say no to them. And there is also this effect of guilt that you feel sometimes when you say no. You just feel that you've said no. The thing is, you've come to a place where you just keep saying yes, yes, yes all the time, that when you have to say no, you start feeling guilty, that you just cannot say no because you have this guilt, like you are supposed to do all these things and you should always be available at the whim of everybody else's fancy. So there's also the problem that the reasons why we need to be able to say no is that we need to be able to stand up for our beliefs and our values. And when we're not able to do that, again, we lose our power and our self-esteem is lowered. We need to be able to stand up to requests that are unwelcome and to behavior that is inappropriate or abusive. We also need to be able to say no to things that are systemic, wrongs that are systemic and things that are unfair. So we need to be able to say no to these things so that we feel that we're standing in our power and we're living our lives the way we want to live it and not because of how somebody else does. So why is it important for us to learn this particular skill right now? Well, technology is really one of the main reasons. Is that we are at a place where technology is at our fingertips. We have our phones with us, our laptops with us all the time. Our phones with us all the time. Our laptops are easily accessible. And so we are constantly bombarded with requests from our bosses, from our family, from our friends. And there's basically no way to break away from those. At any given time, we're always like locked and tied to other people. So this technology, while it is good, it can also be bad in that we're never ever able to disconnect from it. And so that we have this constant stress and anxiety and sense of overwhelm because of this level of stress that this instant access to technology and therefore to others can bring upon us. It's also important that we realize that the knowledge base is so much now than it was when I was growing up. Now we can just Google something and we get the answer. We can ask Siri and we get some answer. What's the weather, Siri? What is it going to be like tomorrow in 2 hours and 4 hours? And we know all of these things instantly. And so because of these this extensive amount of knowledge that we have available to us, we are expected to make choices quickly. And people expect us to make these choices quickly. And we expect to ourselves to make these choices quickly because this information is so easily accessible. And because of all of this easy access to knowledge and easy access to technology, guys, the boundaries between work and home and anything else, any kind of social activities that we're doing has been eroded. And because now we have work reaching us by the phone, we have work reaching us by our laptops and any other kind of technological device that we have around the home. And so it becomes really, really difficult to maintain our boundaries between these different parts of our lives. But why is it that saying no is so difficult? Well, there is a constant tension between exercising our power and maintaining our relationships. And this is the tension and the stress that causes us saying no to be so difficult. Because when we exercise our power, we believe that it will strain our relationship. And so we maintain our relationships by giving into every request, which also in turn weakens our power. So what do we normally do? Well, we accommodate, we attack, or we avoid. How do we accommodate? Well, basically we say yes when we really want to say no, just to keep the peace. And we attack because we react we react instead of respond. We react in anger in a way, and we say no in a way that is going to ruin the relationship or hurt someone that we love or someone that we care for, right? And we avoid by saying nothing, just kind of hoping that it will all go away. It would just work itself out or go away, and it never does. So how do we accommodate? We will say on an unhealthy yes. We'll say yes just because that kind of buys a false and temporary sense of peace, which it really doesn't, because you say yes, but you're all torn up inside because you feel it will cause you some peace by just saying yes to everyone, right? But it really just messes up your whole emotional vibe. You feel stressed, right? And so we tend also to go along just to get along, and we end up making things worse in the end. uh, we don't want to look like the bad person in this relationship. We don't want to be the bad guy or the bad girl. We don't want to rock the boat, and we don't want to be singled out as being like the person who does, is going to hurt somebody else. So we accommodate. How do we attack? Well, we use our power without any concern for the relationship, right? Which is another problem. So this is why it's so important to be able to say no while maintaining the relationship. And so when we attack, we lash out, and we attack in such a way that it's hurtful or damaging to the relationship. This usually ends up in finger pointing and blaming, so nothing gets resolved. Both sides usually end up losing, really, in fact. And this can result in family feuds, bitter strikes, boardroom fights, and wars, right? When each side is just busy attacking each other. How do we avoid saying no? Well, we don't say yes or no. We just say nothing at all, right? We just fear, because we fear the anger and disapproval of others. We just say nothing. We try to avoid it. We hope the problem will just go away because we just want to avoid it. But it never does, guys. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And while we're pretending that nothing is bothering us, we, can cause us, it can cause us physical injuries. People who have ulcers and high blood pressure and emotional instability is usually caused by just keeping in all the stuff that's bothering them. And that problem just festers and and the more we ignore that problem, it becomes bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden it explodes into this big old volcano, and we wonder what the hell happened, right? And somebody might be looking on at this person who just exploded like a volcano, and wonder, but they always looked so okay. They were always so quiet. They always looked fine. But what they were doing, they were stuffing that problem. They were stuffing that all those negativities that they were just storing. Because they avoided the problem instead of facing it and saying no in a way that is going to maintain relationships. Now, there is a kind of a vicious cycle when we accommodate. We most of us begin by accommodating when we accommodate at the expense of our own needs, and therefore we become resentful. Depending on how long we accommodate and stifle our own needs, resentment will then explode into anger, causing us to attack whomever is in the vicinity. And usually, guys, the sad thing about this is that the people that we attack are usually the ones closest to us, even if they are not the cause of the problem. Why you are sucking in all this, this negativity and keeping it to yourself, and then finally exploding, because these people are going to be around you. It could be your wife, your husband, your children, or any other loved one you have that's in close proximity at the time. You end up blowing up on these people and just exploding because you've kept this anger inside of you instead of dealing with it. This can also result now, after you blow up on everybody that you love, now that is going to result in a feeling of guilt, and because of really just hoping that the problem will disappear is the cause of all of this. So what's the way out? Well, learning to say no in a way that can cause us to use our power and to maintain our relationships is the only way out, guys. First, you have to find your yes. When you want to say no while maintaining a relationship, you have to start out with a yes. And the yes will be a yes to yourself and to your needs and to your personal interests. For example, yes, I need to spend weekends with my family to build that relationship. Then you will now say to the person who's asking you about this, I will not be working on weekends or holidays because I need to spend time with so that's a no. You go yes, and the no you will say is to assert your power in telling them no, yes. Sorry. So yes is to yourself. what your needs are, your values are, what you want, spending time with your family. The no will be to your whoever is asking you the favor or what to do something. And that will be, it could be working weekends or holidays, and while neglecting your family. And so you're going to also say a final yes to maintaining your relationship with that person that you have to say no to. And how you'll do it is that you can probably say, for example, in the case of spending weekends with your family, your boss want you to work weekends and holidays, you could say, I hope we can say no, I need to spend weekends with my family, but I hope we can find a way that will work for both of us so I can spend time with my family and also still satisfy the needs of the organization, right? So you have to say yes to the things that are valuable to you. Sorry. Right? While saying no to the things that will not serve you and that will just keep you going around in this cycle of negativity. What are 3 gifts of, a positive no? Well, it gives us the ability to create what we want. It also gives us the ability to protect what we value. And it gives us the ability to change what no longer works for us. We also have to recognize that in order to be able to say yes to what we want, we first have to say no to what we do not want. But remember, guys, before you say no, because no, when we say no, most of us say it reactively. We have to be able to say no out of a calm place. So we're going to now make sure that we're not angry when we're saying no. And the way we can do that is we have to take time out to just get back into a place of calm and self-control before we say no to these people. Because, when you say no in anger, it's just going to cause more problems, all right? Why we need to control our natural reactions before we say no? Well, basically, anger can blind us. It causes us to lose sight of the real reasons for why we're saying no. The other thing is that fear can paralyze us, because by imagining how the other person will react, and we're focusing on how saying no will negatively impact the relationship, then we are living in fear. We're going to it from a place of fear. And the next thing is that we also respond by saying no, by being guilty. But guilt can weaken us, and by making us feel we don't deserve what we want, because that's what guilt does. It makes we feel that we should give over all our power to everybody else. It makes us feel that we don't deserve what we actually want, and that others' needs are more important than our needs. So guys, I want to finish this first video off by just asking you to check out my resources online. I have t-shirts selling. My book is online, Nuggets of Wisdom for Reaching Your Highest Potential. It's on Amazon in Kindle, print, and Audible version. I also offer coaching for high school students, graduates actually, who are going into the college arena right now, environment, and they may not have a clue as to how to proceed and what to expect, because maybe their parents are not available to tell them. Maybe their parents don't know what it is to expect when you're now entering the college arena, and how to navigate that journey through college. So I do coaching for high school students with that. Please visit my website. It's www.leverageforchange.com. And I also have t-shirts. If you follow my social media, Facebook, there is Leverage for Change Gifts. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest as well as LinkedIn, guys. So I also help families, because my PhD is in marriage and family therapy. And so I help families to just work through problems, and so that they can build and maintain strong, healthy relationships. So guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor, and your Leverage for Change. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.